I still remember the exact morning when everything started to fall apart. It was strange how one small whisper, one quick sentence spoken by the wrong person, could shake the entire ground under your feet. Before that day, my life was quiet, steady, even a bit predictable. I worked hard, I minded my own business, and I believed, maybe foolishly, that people around me wished me well. But that illusion shattered the moment I stepped into the office and felt something heavy in the air. It wasn't visible, but it was sharp, cold, and painful. Like walking through a room full of broken glass. As soon as I entered, conversations stopped. Eyes darted away. Smiles turned stiff. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Maybe everyone was just tired or stressed. But then I saw it, one of my closest colleagues, Lena, looking at me with that strange mix of pity and discomfort. She quickly lowered her gaze, pretending to type, but her trembling fingers gave her away. Something was wrong. Very wrong. I walked to my desk, trying to act normal, but curiosity burned in me. The atmosphere felt poisoned. Whispers floated behind me, soft, quick, but unmistakable. People who used to greet me warmly barely nodded, and the ones who never cared suddenly stared at me with unusual interest, almost hungry for drama. It didn't take long for the truth to reach me. At first, it came in pieces. Someone said I was not trustworthy. Someone else hinted that I had done something terrible. But no one told me directly. They just let their stares do the talking. And every look felt like another knife. Even then, I didn't expect the real blow to come from the one person I truly trusted, Ryan. He wasn't just a colleague. He was my friend, my confidant. The person who shared lunch with me, joked about the terrible coffee, and stayed late with me during tough deadlines. If someone had told me that morning that he would be the one who destroyed my reputation, I would have laughed. Rayhan had always been supportive, always friendly. Or so I believed. But people change, or maybe they were never who we thought they were, at around noon. When I finally gathered the courage to ask what was going on, Lena pulled me aside. Her voice was shaky, hesitant, as if she wasn't sure whether she should speak or not. "I'm only telling you because I feel bad," she whispered. "But Rayon said, you're planning to get him fired? That you told the boss he's incompetent?" For a moment, my brain simply froze. What? Me? Say that about him? I felt the ground slip as the sense of betrayal washed over me. It wasn't anger at first, it was confusion. Deep, painful confusion. Why would he say something like that? Why would he invent something so destructive? Lena continued. "He said he overheard you talking to the manager. He said you're trying to take his position." I almost laughed because it was absurd, wild, completely detached from reality. But no one else was laughing. The office had already accepted it as truth. And just like that, one lie, one carefully crafted piece of poison spread faster than wildfire. People whispered that I was manipulative, an opportunist, someone willing to break others for success. I wanted to confront Rayon immediately, but I stopped. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. My voice felt trapped. My chest tightened. And in that moment of silence, I realized something painful. Maybe this wasn't a misunderstanding. Maybe Rayon wanted this. The idea hit me like a storm. He wasn't careless, he was calculated. He must have planned every word he spread, every expression he faked, every conversation he twisted. And the worst part? People believed him. They believed him over me, the person who had always tried to be kind, honest, straightforward. That day, as I sat at my desk pretending to work, staring at my reflection in the dark computer screen, a question formed inside me, quiet at first, then louder. Why would someone you trust decide to ruin you? I didn't know the answer yet, but I would find out soon. And when I did, everything changed. Everything. I didn't confront Rayon immediately because I knew myself too well. I knew my emotions were rising like a storm. And if I approached him that moment, I might end up saying something that would only make things worse. So I stayed quiet, even though every part of me wanted to demand answers. The next day, things got worse. People weren't just whispering anymore. They were avoiding me. Meetings went silent when I spoke. My suggestions were ignored. Projects I had led for months were suddenly reassigned for better efficiency. It was clear. I had been quietly pushed out of the circle, but I wasn't going to let a lie define me. Not this time. During lunch break, I saw Rayan sitting at his usual place, laughing, relaxed, looking absolutely unaffected, as if he hadn't just turned my entire life upside down. The sight of him made something inside me shift. The confusion faded. Anger replaced it, but not the loud, explosive kind. This anger was cold, controlled, and steady. I approached him calmly. "Can we talk?" I asked. He looked up, and for a moment I saw something in his eye: surprise, irritation, maybe even guilt. But it vanished quickly, replaced by his usual fake smile. "Of course. What's up?" I sat across from him, studying his face. "I heard what you told people about me trying to get you fired." His reaction was immediate, too immediate. "What?" "No, I didn't say that." "Who said that? You know how things get twisted? Stop." My voice didn't rise. It didn't shake either. "I know what you said." His smile stiffened. "Look, maybe someone misunderstood something I said casually. You know how people exaggerate?" He was lying again. And badly. At that moment, the puzzle clicked together. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't gossip gone wrong. This was something deeper. Something personal. I leaned back. "Why, Rayan? You could have just talked to me." His eyes flashed not with guilt, but with resentment. Real, unfiltered resentment. "There's no point competing with someone who has everything handed to them," he said quietly, bitterness dripping from every word. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about work. This wasn't about a rumor. This was about jealousy. Rayan had always acted confident, but deep down, he hated that people respected me. He hated that I worked hard and succeeded without stepping on others. He hated that I didn't need to pretend. "You think everything is easy for me?" I asked, shocked. He looked away. "People like you don't even need to try. Everyone listens to you. Everyone likes you, and I'm always in the background." So there it was. It's the root. The reason he stabbed me in the back, not because I wronged him, not because I deserved it, but because he convinced himself that I had something he didn't that day. I walked away not because I was defeated, but because I realized something powerful. People don't betray you because you're weak. They betray you because they think you're strong. But strength works both ways. And I wasn't done. Not even close. After realizing Rayan's jealousy was the fuel for his lies, I didn't act rashly. Revenge wasn't about immediate satisfaction. It was about precision. I spent days observing him, listening carefully to what he said, who he trusted, and how far his arrogance could stretch before it cracked. And cracks began appearing almost immediately. Rayan was careless. He loved attention, thrived on people noticing him, praising him. He would brag about things he had done in his mind, manipulated, even if no one needed to know. That arrogance became my weapon. I started collecting evidence: emails, texts, little inconsistencies in what he told people, moments where he contradicted himself. Everything he had done to paint me as manipulative or dishonest now became a mirror reflecting his true self. But I didn't confront anyone yet. The office had to feel the weight of it naturally, step by step. Subtlety was key. Meanwhile, I continued to act as if nothing had happened. Smiles, nods, casual conversations. People saw the calm me, and they remembered who I really was. And slowly, doubt began to creep in. Some colleagues who had turned their backs started glancing at Rayan, noticing things they hadn't before. Why did he always avoid certain questions? Why did he never provide clear proof of what he claimed about me? I began dropping small hints, cleverly planted in conversations. I would ask a question about a project, and when he tried to twist it, I would casually point out the exact facts in front of witnesses. Nothing aggressive, just the truth, like light slowly exposing the shadows he had cast. Then came the big moment. Rayan had organized a team presentation wanting to shine in front of the higher-ups. He tried to subtly include a story about me trying to sabotage him, assuming no one would question him. That was his mistake. I spoke up calmly, not confrontational, just clear. Actually, that's not what happened. Here are the emails and messages from last week that show the exact conversation. The silence that followed was satisfying. People looked at the evidence, then at him, then back at the evidence. His face turned pale, not from anger, but from panic. For the first time, the confident, untouchable mask slipped, and then the whispers that had haunted me turned into murmurs of disbelief, directed at him. I watched carefully as the atmosphere shifted. Every eye that had once doubted me now questioned Rayan, and I knew the storm I had quietly set in motion was ready to break. Once I saw that people were starting to notice the cracks in Rayan's facade, I intensified my efforts. Revenge isn't about rash action. It's a slow burn. Every piece of truth I revealed had to be undeniable. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. Simply showed facts. And when facts are placed carefully, they speak louder than anger ever could. I gathered more evidence of his manipulations, including conversations where he subtly insulted colleagues to make himself look better, exaggerations about his achievements, and the lies about me that had started this mess. Each piece was carefully cataloged, like notes in a symphony leading to the final crescendo. The next step was social proof. People had to see the truth, not just in my words, but through their own observations. I started subtle conversations in groups asking questions, recounting situations where his stories didn't add up, sharing emails without framing them as evidence against him. Slowly, doubts became questions, and questions became whispers. But this time, the whispers were about him. Not me. I even found small ways to highlight his inconsistencies publicly, but without making it obvious. A casual remark during a meeting, a correction in front of the team, a pointed question he couldn't answer. Each interaction built tension, like water dripping on stone until the stone finally cracked. Through it all, I remained composed. That calmness became my strongest weapon. People began to notice the difference. The person they had believed was manipulative was actually calm, confident, and professional, while Rayan, the supposed trustworthy friend, now stumbled over words, became defensive, and revealed his true nature without even realizing it. The final piece was the boss. I scheduled a one-on-one, presenting all the documented evidence and calmly explaining the situation. No theatrics, no emotional breakdowns. Just the truth laid out clearly, with a trail of proof that even a skeptic couldn't ignore. By the end of that meeting, the foundation of Rayan's lies was exposed. The stage was set for the public unmasking, the moment where the storm would reach its peak. Asterisk, the day everyone found out arrived like the quiet before a storm. A team meeting had been scheduled by management, and I had been asked to present updates. I used the opportunity to weave in the evidence naturally, showing inconsistencies in a professional context without naming anyone directly at first. Rayan tried his usual tricks, interrupting, twisting the narrative, but I was ready. Calm, factual, composed. Each point I made was backed with emails, messages, and witnesses. Slowly, the room shifted. Colleagues leaned in, their expressions changing from confusion to realization to shock. And then came the moment he realized he had no control. A casual question from a coworker revealed another of his lies, this one unrelated to me, but it piled onto everything else. The dominoes fell. People who had believed him were now openly questioning him. Whispers began circling, but this time it was about him, the liar, not me, the victim. He tried to defend himself, stammering, sweating, looking around for an ally. But no one stepped in. Every word he had carefully crafted to manipulate others was now unraveling in real time. Faces turned cold. Respect evaporated. And in that room, I felt a quiet, almost guilty satisfaction, not because I had enjoyed hurting him, but because truth had finally emerged. By the end of the meeting, the boss addressed him directly. Rayan, these inconsistencies are concerning. We'll need a formal review of your conduct. His confidence, arrogance, and pride crumbled in front of everyone. And I didn't even need to gloat. The truth had done the work for me. After the meeting, the office atmosphere had changed completely. Rayhan no longer had the power he once wielded effortlessly. Colleagues who once avoided me now approached with subtle nods of acknowledgement, tentative smiles, and quiet apologies. It wasn't about victory or humiliation. It was about restoring the truth Rayhan, meanwhile, became a shadow of the man he used to be. He tried to carry on with his work, but every task was under scrutiny. Every statement he made was questioned. He had built a house of lies, and now he was trapped inside it. Even the higher-ups, who once admired his charm and confidence, now regarded him with suspicion. The same people who had blindly believed him now avoided him, wary of being associated with deception. I didn't seek public revenge on social media or through dramatic confrontations. My approach had been subtle but powerful. It was the quiet dismantling of his false image that worked best. Over the next few weeks, more inconsistencies emerged as others came forward with experiences of his manipulation. Little by little, his reputation unraveled, leaving him isolated, embarrassed, and powerless. I, on the other hand, regained not just my position, but also my confidence. The betrayal had tested me, but it had also revealed a side of myself I hadn't known, a side capable of patience, strategy, and quiet determination. Every glance I received from colleagues reminded me that truth, when carefully and persistently revealed, is stronger than lies. No matter how cleverly spun, it was not about celebrating his downfall. It was about reclaiming my dignity. People who had doubted me now respected the calm resilience I had maintained throughout. The whispers of gossip had turned into whispers of admiration for the way I had handled the situation. And yet, I felt an unexpected sense of emptiness. The person who had once been my closest friend, the one I had trusted the most, had been capable of such destruction. It made me wonder how well we can ever truly know someone. How many smiles hide envy? How many friendships conceal agendas? The world is complicated, and betrayal often comes from the places we least expect. Still, there was a lesson buried in the pain. Strength isn't just about physical resilience or professional skills, it's about moral composure, intelligence, and patience. Revenge isn't satisfying if it's impulsive. It becomes meaningful when it's calculated, thoughtful, and just. And seeing Rayon exposed without having to compromise my own integrity gave me a deeper understanding of that truth. From that point forward, I worked quietly but with renewed energy, building trust and showing that integrity matters more than temporary popularity. Every success was a quiet reminder that hard work and honesty have their own power, one that cannot be undermined by whispers or lies. The office slowly returned to normal, but I never forgot the lessons learned. Rayon had taught me, unintentionally, that people's true intentions often reveal themselves only when tested. And when they do, we have a choice: crumble under betrayal or rise with dignity, letting the truth become our ultimate ally. As time passed, I reflected on everything that had happened. Betrayal has a way of forcing clarity, exposing both the strength and weaknesses of those involved. I had learned about envy, deception, and the fragility of trust, but also about my own resilience and capacity for calm strategy. Rayon's downfall wasn't accidental. It was the result of a carefully orchestrated process, not fueled by anger, but by methodical patience and observation. And it proved something important. Revenge isn't about chaos. It's about justice executed thoughtfully. When lies and manipulation are met with truth, carefully revealed, even the most arrogant deceiver cannot hide forever. I also realized that revenge isn't about cruelty. It's about balance. Rayhan was given every opportunity to correct himself, to admit his lies, and to make amends, but he chose pride and envy. By exposing him publicly and calmly, I didn't just protect myself. I restored fairness for the entire environment around me. The lesson extended beyond our personal conflict. It was a statement about integrity and accountability. And yet, the experience changed me in unexpected ways. I became more cautious about trust, more aware of subtle intentions. But I also became stronger in the knowledge that truth carries weight. The whispers that once threatened to destroy me became the whispers that heralded his exposure. What others tried to use to harm me became the foundation of his downfall. In life, betrayal can feel unbearable. It can shake your confidence and make you question your judgment. But it also offers an opportunity to rise above, to demonstrate strength, patience, and moral clarity. Revenge, when done right, is not about hatred, it's about reclaiming dignity, correcting injustice, and ensuring that lies do not triumph over truth. I never sought to humiliate Rayon publicly for satisfaction. I sought to reveal the truth so everyone could see the reality for themselves. And in that there is power not in cruelty, but in justice. Looking back, the story of betrayal and revenge isn't just about me or him. It's about understanding human nature, recognizing envy and deceit, and responding in a way that preserves integrity. People will always face betrayal in some form, whether in work, friendship, or family. How we respond defines who we are. I learned that day that the most effective revenge isn't noisy or impulsive. It's quiet, precise, and methodical. It allows the truth to shine, letting deception collapse under its own weight. And in that collapse, justice is served, dignity is restored, and strength is reaffirmed. The storm passed, leaving clarity behind. Rand's lies were exposed, his reputation shattered, and the office returned to balance. I stood taller, wiser, and more aware of the fragile nature of trust, but also more confident in the enduring power of truth. In the end, betrayal may shake us, but it cannot destroy those who rise calmly and strategically. And revenge, when rooted in justice and truth, becomes a force more powerful than anger or hatred ever could.